And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, story arcs, character debuts, and the like. And we got a bunch of books to talk about. Hopefully, you got a chance to check out the free comic book day special I posted yesterday. Was trying to get that up a little bit earlier in the week. It just didn't work out, but hopefully, you got a chance to watch it. And if not, I'll try to remember to add it somewhere here or in the description below at the very least, or you can just go check out the playlist. Go to onlygoodcomics.com and you'll find it. But anyway, a lot of books coming out on May 8th, I believe it is. Whatever day it is. That's going to be right? And Free Comic Book Day is obviously tomorrow, so we got all that to look forward to as well. But before I get into this week's books, I do have one to recap, but I also wanted to share. I talked about on yesterday's video how I went to Central Texas Comic Con, my first con back since before the pandemic. And I actually picked up a few number one issues. So, given that this is Friday First, I figured I would share them on here. One of them is from Plus Waco Comics. So, they're obviously a Waco, Texas founded company. It's called Lawbringer issue 1. I have not read any of these, by the way. I just wanted to check them out, though. But there's a sneak peek of some of the artwork in there, so pretty good stuff here. So I'm definitely eager to check out some work from some of my contemporaries. So that's pretty cool that they got this, and they have a special thanks for their crowdfunding endeavors in this book as well. We've got this one is from someone that I've known for years here and there. This is from Sam Vera of Catch the Craze podcast. You can see him there. This podcast gave me either my first or second interview ever back in the day, about 2008, 2009, when I was doing a comic series called Wannabes. Sam had me on as a guest, and I got to talk about Wannabes, and it was fun. And hopefully soon I'll be coming back on the show. But this is his book. There's an Alien in My Toilet. He has had this book since then. He's got several issues now and collected editions, but I picked up issue 1. So yeah, it's just this fun, goofy concept that he's built his entire brand and his entire booth around, and it looks pretty cool. Just show you a little bit of it. So eager to finally check out There's an Alien in My Toilet. And then finally, I showed a picture yesterday of me holding a championship belt. And that belt, sorry about the noise, that belt was tied to this comic, which is by Dan Price. And this is Bigfoot Knows Karate. So that belt was the championship belt that had Bigfoot's face on it, and it was pretty cool. It was had a good heft to it. It was a nice belt. It was a really nice belt. But I'm eager to check this one out. The name of this comic just pulled me in right away. And Dan was a pretty cool guy. We talked for a while. And there's a shot of Bigfoot doing his karate there. So pretty cool books that I got to get from some of my fellow Texan creators. So eager to check those out and wanted to give them all a shout out on Friday First. So with that said, let's get into that first recap, or that only recap, really, because I've only read one book this week. It's been a crazy busy week, so we will start with that one recap book, which is the biggest book I think that came out this week, probably, and I think you'd all agree, given that it's the start of an event, which is Blood Hunt issue number 1 for Marvel. This is the kickoff to that big vampire story. And we start to see how things unfold. And I've been really hesitant going into this book, going into this event. And events in general, I'm a little hesitant about. But this one in particular, it wasn't appealing to me as a Marvel fan. Now, as a story fan, as just liking different stuff, vampires sometimes can be cool and fun to read about. But within the Marvel universe, they've never really been my thing. So I was really hesitant about this one, but I have to say that by this issue, I was pleasantly surprised. Am I in love with the event? No, but I did like this book, and there are two main reasons I liked it. One is because of the cliffhanger, what happens at the end, which I'm not going to spoil. But something big happened that maybe you saw coming, maybe you didn't. I was kind of in the middle on it personally. There were hints, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that's I don't know why this is or where it's coming from, but this is going to be interesting at the very least. But also the way that the Dark Force characters, and this is not a spoiler because this has been in the press releases and things like that, but the way that the Dark Force users are tied into what's happening and why there's this shroud of darkness and why the vampires have full reign and just carte blanche to go crazy. Um, because all these Dark Force users, like Cloak, like Blackout, etc., are being utilized as portals to release the Dark Force dimension into the main Marvel universe. And it's kind of blocking out the sun. And that's how the book starts off. And it's like, oh, that is actually really creative and really cool. I like that. One nitpick I have is that the one complaint I've had about the Avengers run that Jed MacKay has done, and I love Jed MacKay's writing, right? He's one of my favorite writers right now. But one of my complaints about, my only complaint really about the Avengers title is that every single arc so far has been the Avengers team versus a team of characters, usually a brand new team of characters that we've never heard of. And it's a tit for tat, complete matches between the teams, and they just battle. And it's just like, let's set these five against these five. And it almost feels like a tournament style because we've had two back to back. The Ashbine Coven or something like that, and then the Ashen Combine. That's what it was, Ashen Combine, and the Knights, the Merlin's group that I can't think of their name, and now to kick off Blood Hunt, we have this group of core vampires that equal the numbers of the Avengers, and it's the Avengers versus this super group of vampires, which I was like, oh no, I don't know. It feels a little one note to me, and that disappointed me, and that kind of marred the experience going into it. I'm glad that the other elements of the story turned it a little for me, but that particular part, I was a little disappointed with, to be perfectly honest. But all in all, I think this issue was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and it does actually have me intrigued to see what happens with some of these characters. Like I love Cloak and Dagger, and they're going to be in a book that I'm talking about coming up in this show. So there's some stuff to hang on to in this, but there's other stuff that I'm not as interested in. But we'll see. I'll at the very least, I'm going to stick with that main series and read that through, unless it just completely loses me somewhere. But I'm a completionist, so I'll probably finish it out. But Blood Hunt #1, better than I thought it was going to be. That's the highest compliment I can give it right now, and a cool twist. So there you go. That's Blood Hunt, and that's the recap. So with the recap done, let's get into next week's books. All right, first up, we have my one and only honorable mention this week, and it's because it's a book that I talked about previously, which is Faith Returns. And I guess this got delayed a week, so that's why it's here. So I just wanted to make everybody aware you didn't miss it. Your shop didn't have it. I guess it was delayed, and it actually came out, or it's coming out next week. So definitely want to highlight that one because I'm excited about this book. So. All right, next up, though, we have a new book from Mad Cave Studios called Mugshots Issue 1. This is about a young woman who is kidnapped that kind of dominoes into this chain of effects that involves like killers and gangsters and con artists and all this police force that's up to no good. They're corrupt, and they're on the take and kind of in the midst of all the violence going on. We have this uncle who is kind of caught up in this family trauma, and there's betrayal and murder and revenge going on and all this stuff, and it's just all over the place. And it sounds like a fun, just like I don't know, one of those movies that's like, oh, well, this sounds like a fun movie, just something to do on the afternoon, on an afternoon when you can't really find something else. It's like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. I'll go check it out, and maybe it's really good, or maybe it's like, I didn't waste my time. I enjoyed myself, but you don't know. You don't know what it is going in. But the thing that really caught my attention with this was the stark cover here. Just the very minimal colors. The obviously the kind of shot of him on the gun barrel, pulling up to her, which is metaphorical, and just it looks nice and clean and interesting, and it would catch my attention if I was walking through the comic shop and saw that cover, and I'd be like, oh, what's this? I got to check this out and flip through it. So yeah, but I don't know a lot about the creative teams, and I haven't seen preview art or anything like that, so I don't know anything beyond that. It just sounds like a fun concept and a really cool cover. So I'm giving Mugshots a potentially good just because of those reasons. But I am curious about it. I'm very curious about it. This next one is not a jumping on point by any means, as far as I know. But this is the Amory Wars Good Apollo on Burning Star for Volume 2, Issue 1. I assume it's like this ongoing epic story and this is just like a small part of it, but it's a new number 1. And I've been seeing the Amory Wars pop up here and there a lot lately. This is from Boom Studios. It's by the front man for Coheed and Cambria, and it's I believe that they ran I'm wanting to say it was like a backer kit crowdfunding campaign for like a collection of the Omri Wars recently, like in the past couple of months or so. And so it's been popping up in my feed and in my email constantly. The Omri Wars, the Omri Wars. You should check out the Omri Wars. And now I'm curious. Now that there's this new number 1, I'm like, well, maybe I should check it out. So I definitely wanted to shout it out, especially for Omri Wars fans. And this cover is beautiful. It's a really nice collage type cover. Um, really beautiful art there. So if nothing else, it's pretty to look at. I just don't know a whole lot about this world. I don't know anything about the story, but I'm intrigued because it's been in my face constantly. And so that means it's been advertised well, good marketing, good on you, Boom. And yeah, now I'm very curious about the Armory Wars. And I'm going to give this one, because I know absolutely nothing about it, I'm going to give it a potentially good, because it must be doing really good to have, massive collections. It's got, celebrities involved with it and beautiful art, and it's Boom. So there you go. Next, we have Giant Size X-Men issue number 1. This has been talked about for a while on Comic Book Weekly. We've been discussing this book and the Giant Size series as a whole, coming back here and there to tell these untold tales and things like that, which is pretty cool. This is a 48-page book for $6.99, so be aware of that. It does have reprinted material in the back of it, but there is a brand new story focusing on Angel. But the reason that this one stood out to me, because it's like, okay, it's this lost story of Warren Worthington III as Angel, but the thing that caught my attention was it's not just Angel, it's got Archangel, it's got different versions, different costumes, different eras of Angel in this, and it's got me curious if they're actually going there, if it's like this multiversal thing, or if it's just this cool cover of Angel's history in the X-Men. So I don't know, but it's an Angel story, so if you're an Angel fan, you'll definitely want to check this one out. For me, I'm giving this one a promisingly good, actually, because it looks kind of fun. It's Ando Sinti doing the writing, so history with the X-Men. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to checking this one out. Talked about this one before as well. The Valiant issue number 1. I don't know. I'm excited for the resurgence of the Valiant universe, but some of these characters in this particular book were ones that I wasn't really following all that closely. Eternal Warrior, Ninjak, Bloodshot, XO, and all of those characters. But at the same time, seeing them team up together is what I think is going to turn the tide for me and leading up to this big event that's going to be happening. So I'm curious about that at the very least. So I definitely want to check out Valiant's issue number 1 and see if it sets the stage for what's to come. So I'm giving this one a potentially good. Okay, so I don't typically go for the Black Label books. One being the oversized, two, they're not tied to continuity. Three, the couple that I've gotten, I've kind of fallen off of them and I haven't really finished them. Like the Harley Quinn one was gorgeous and the first issue was really good, but I got about halfway through the second one and just never finished reading the thing. So I typically stay away from the Black Label stuff because I know that's how it's going to be for me. But I've seen a lot of people talking about this book in particular, The Boy Wonder, issue number 1. Junie Ba is writing and drawing this book, and it's about all about Damian Wayne, who's raised to be, obviously the heir of the League of Assassins, and everything changes when Batman. I mean, it's the Damian Wayne story, right? But he doesn't want to be, just anything. He wants to be the guy, right? And he's forced to leave the city on business that involves this demon walking the alleys and these abductions and all this stuff. It just sounds like a fun Damian Wayne story. So if you're a Damian Wayne fan, and I actually am, it could be a good one. But even just on this page, there are so many comments here just gushing about not only Damian Wayne, but this particular book. And beyond that, I've been hearing talk about this book. So it's like, well, this must be something special because so many people are interested in this. So I might have to check this one out. So this one is getting a potentially good for me because of all the interest around it, and because it's definitely an intriguing cover, and this solo Damian Wayne story, I really loved the progression of the character of Damian Wayne over the past couple of years, so it's got me curious to check it out. I wish it was in continuity. I wish it wasn't just this one-shot thing. I'm assuming it's a one-shot, but yeah. We'll check it out and see what it's all about, though. All right, I mentioned Blood Hunt earlier in the show, and now we're getting into 3 books that tie into that event already. So we've got this. The first one is Dracula Blood Hunt, issue number 1. All will bow to the Lord of the Vampire's blade. This is all about Dracula, and presumably from the description as well, but from the cover, Blade's daughter. This is let's see. Is that Blade's daughter? I don't know anything about Blade's daughter. Whoever this girl is, I don't know who this is. Somebody tell me who this is in the comments if that's not her. I might have gotten that wrong. It might be somebody else. It might be somebody from the Blade book, the recent Blade book. But anyway, this is probably the least of the books that I'm interested in. At the same time, because in Blood Hunt they talked about Dracula's absence from this and how they didn't think Dracula would be behind this, I'm actually curious to see what Dracula's reaction to this vampire outbreak is, to see, what his thoughts are about his empire kind of falling apart beneath him, and what role he plays in this whole thing. So at least the very first issue of this could be interesting and kind of set the tone for where this story might head, to see if Dracula is going to be, which side he's going to be on, actually. So it could be interesting. But because I'm kind of on the fence of whether I'm even going to get this one. I'm going to give this one possibly good, which is my lowest rating on the show, because I just don't know. I don't know. Danny Lore, I'm not incredibly familiar with Danny Lore's work. The name is familiar to me, but I'm just not familiar with what they've done. So yeah, I'm a little on the fence with this one. One I'm not on the fence with, though, is Blood Hunters issue number 1. Part of that is for the creative team, which I'll get to in a minute, and another part of that is the characters involved. I mentioned Cloak and Dagger earlier. Obviously, you have Dagger on the cover with Hawkeye here. Her, best friend and partner, Cloak, is one of the Dark Force users that's been utilized as this portal and presumably dead or overtaken by this Dark Force dimension, bleeding out of all of them. And so obviously she has a dog in this fight, no pun intended, with the wolf or whatever that is on there. But oh yeah, it's Man Wolf. Duh. So yes, Wolf. But Hawkeye. It also ties into the Hawkeye, the Black Widow and Hawkeye series because it mentions that Hawkeye is on the run, and in the midst of this, he has to deal with vampires. So at least continuity is matching up here. It's got two characters that I really love, which is Dagger and Hawkeye. And then the creative team is Mark Russell and Bob Quinn. Now, Bob Quinn recently from Kill Your Darlings, which is a book I loved and thought was absolutely gorgeous. And then Mark Russell, his resume of thought provoking material is growing and growing. And some of his stuff is not really for me, but other books that I've read that he's written have been really, really good. So that gives me a lot of hope for this one. So for this one, for Blood Hunters, um, I am actually giving a promisingly good. So hopefully I'm not wrong, and it's phenomenal. And then we have Strange Academy Blood Hunt issue number 1. You know that I'm a big Strange Academy fan, but I'm a Strange Academy fan when Skottie Young is writing it. And Skottie Young is not writing this book, so that gives me a little pause. It is Daniel Jose Older that is writing this. Um, so I'm not familiar with his work at all. Obviously, this ties into Blood Hunt, and it features Dormammu, Shaylee, Toth, Zoe, and Jermaine. So all the main characters, or some of the main characters from Strange Academy book, involved in this, and how they play into this. So the last Strange Academy book, which was tied into that math quiz math bowl thing, was not so great, but I'm hoping because this is tied into a more serious thing and it's universe wide that it's going to be more fun, more interesting, and we get to see more of these characters that I've come to love. So for that reason, I'm going to give this one a potentially good, just because I want to say promisingly good, but because I'm not familiar with the creative team, I have to stay with potentially, but I'm definitely of all of them too because of Strange Academy. I'm getting this one, so we'll see what happens. All right, we're up to my last 3 picks, and first up of these 3 is Avengers 14. You're wondering like why this is tying into Blood Hunt. This is issue 14, whatever. It's because it is a new team lineup debuting here because the current team of Avengers that is in Blood Hunt is tied up with Blood Hunt, and continuity matters here apparently. So they are off fighting the vampires while Captain Marvel calls on the B team, I guess, as Steve Rogers becomes an Avenger once again. It looks like from this cover we have Captain America, Steve Rogers. We've got Hawkeye, which is Kate Bishop. We've got Quicksilver. We've got Hazmat, and we've got Hercules kind of picking up, and it's still tying in the Blood Hunt apparently, but I enjoy seeing different characters come in, Reserve Avengers popping up, Steve Rogers back at the helm of the Avengers for at least for an arc or a story, an issue, whatever it is. It's going to be fun to see these. I've never seen this particular pairing of characters together. Hazmat and Kate should bounce off each other pretty well, but I'm curious to see Hazmat and Captain America working together, and Quicksilver and Hazmat, their banter, or Quicksilver and Kate. There's a lot of fun, like, things that you could do with these characters interacting with each other, which I think could be fun. So I'm giving this one a promisingly good because of that. And yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. Then we have a brand new series from Boom Studios. This is called Crocodile Black issue 1, and this is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who had that acclaimed Superman run recently. And this is about a man who is has turned to a life of crime during this pandemic, and he's just kind of lost control of his life, and he sees something happen while he's got this job as a delivery person, and while he's on the job he witnesses something that kind of changes his mind about everything, and kind of pulls him into this dark, tortured world of crime, I guess. And it's going to be interesting to see this character who supposedly is just like the average Joe kind of turn his life around because of something he sees and be like, okay, I could have a better life. Let's go try to make that happen. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And the art from this cover looks really good. Again, you got a critically acclaimed writer at the helm. So definitely going to check this out. It's a Boom series. Boom series are often very good. So that's Crocodile Black. And for me, it gets a potentially good. And lastly, we have Ain't No Grave issue number 1 from Image Comics. I mentioned Skottie Young earlier in the show. This book is by Skottie Young and Jorge Corona, who previously did Middle West and The Me You Love in the Dark. Both phenomenal books. Outstanding creative team behind this. I will buy anything these two put out. And just, it's a Western, which looks really cool. The art is gorgeous. I don't even know. I didn't even read the description here. I don't even know what this is about. Let's read it. This Unforgiven style journey is an original macabre Western fantasy tale for mature readers, told through a Guillermo del Toro-esque lens. That sounds pretty freaking cool to me. I don't know about you. Writer put her violent past behind her when she fell in love and became a mother, but that was before she learned it was all going to be taken away. Now she'll have to pick up her guns once again and ride to kill the one who's behind the threat, which just happens to be death. Double length issue for the first issue, 48 pages for $5.99. That's a great value. 40 pages of story with no ads. That's really cool. It's like a classic Western tale, but instead of the guy picking up after his family is taken, it's the woman, and now she's fighting this supernatural threat on top of it, and it's by a team that does supernatural, kind of mystical, wonky stuff really well. I'm really excited about this one, actually. So I'm giving this one a positively good because I can't imagine this being bad, honestly. So that's it. Ain't No Grave. That's without having read it yet, I'm going to tentatively say this will be my pick of the week. But we'll see what happens and see if it blows me away as much as I think it might, or if it's just, middle of the road. But I have high hopes for this just because of my experience with this team. So Ain't No Grave, positively good. And that's it. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Friday First. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help the channel, and it makes my day a little better. And of course, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss any of the content going up on the channel. Like special unexpected episodes like the free comic book day one that I did yesterday, and the like. And of course, you can follow me across social media at Only Good Comics, and type in onlygoodcomics.com in your browser to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we can talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Happy Free Comic Book Day. Keep reading those comics and take care.